need a switch. Let's see this.
We're live. Hola. Welcome, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Ooh. I'm Alberta, and I'm Coffee.
I'm Tiffany. I'm Cream.
And together we are Queens of Conversations. Today we are going to talk. I'm so excited. We're doing our Black Love series, and today is our Black Love series Married Edition. You're on mute, Tiff.
I am so sorry, everybody. Hey, I'm Cream, and happy Valentine's Day, everyone. So today we are celebrating Black love. We're celebrating Valentine's Day, and we know how when this day comes around, right? We love it, we hate it, and then there's those feelings in between, right? And why is that? Why do we feel this way when it's a day to celebrate love? So thoughts that come to my head is pressure, right? We have that pressure. Men have that pressure of, what do I get her this year? You know, I already bought her flowers, candy, jewelry. Well, there's a million cards out there. What? Why do we have to do this? And women, you know, we have that pressure too. We get some things waxed, right? We go out a detox, or our stomach's a little flatter. We do all kinds of stuff. Get our eyebrows done, you know. So there's pressure. But when we look at the essence of what we can make this day to be, it is a day to celebrate love. And then we also have the other naysayers, and they feel it's another day to just consume, just spend money, right? So we're here to talk about all of that. We're here to talk about that with our married couples. We have some who've been married for 4 years. We have some who've been married for 34 years. And we're going to have a great time today to celebrate that love. So thank you, everyone, for being a part of it. And Ms. Coffee, take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so today we have four to five lovely couples. And I didn't tell you guys this prior because I didn't want you to cheat. But throughout this conversation, I'm going to ask a series of questions, and the game is called Miss or Kiss. So whoever I direct the question to, whether it's the husband or the wife, if you get the question wrong, you get a miss. If you get the question correct, you get a kiss. And then at the end, we're going to see who has the most kisses that will win a lovely prize. Okay? So, but we're going to look, don't be cheating because y'all are mute. I can see y'all lips moving. But I'm asking each a different questions, so you don't have time to think about it. So it could be any kind of question. But I won't get like personal or into your intimate life or anything like that. Okay, so first we have the McKenzies. They have been married 34 years. And the first question is, I want to know your love story. How did you meet? How did you start dating? Look, she's laughing. You're on mute. I'm Tyra. You're on mute. Oh.
Or you do it. Okay, she did it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. How did we meet?
Yeah, tell us your love story. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We've been knowing each other all our lives, just about. I would say all our lives.
There is gonna be two sides to this story, but I'll let her go first.
No, I mean like all our lives, since like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. Our parents were friends. And one thing I tell my children is when we grew up, we had friendships. We had wholesome friendships, you know, at teenagers, 13, 14, 15, where we could go bike riding with, you know, it would be girls and guys. We go bike riding and stuff. And it was nothing like trying to be fresh or anything like that. We just had friends and we would go bike riding. And Jerome is a couple years older 2 years older than I am. And our birthdays are the same day. And so when we found out that our birthdays were the same day, we just automatically clicked. And so with him being 2 years older than me, we would always, converse and talk and chat. And so we just became really good friends. Now, what were you going to say, how we met?
No, like you said, there's actually at least one photograph somewhere where Tyra was in diapers, because Pampers weren't invented then. Tyra was in diapers sitting on the floor, and I was standing over her. She had to be maybe 6 months, which meant I was a year and a half. And we found that after we had been in our relationship. And it just proved that we were together our whole lives. Like she said, our mothers were hanging partners, so they must have had a good time talking about the fact that both their children was born on August 12th, and so we go all the way back, and when we were coming up, like she alluded to, is Tyra would come to me on advice about boyfriends. What about this guy? What about that guy? And I would say, nah, this guy talks too much. He's just going to tell everybody what's going on, and that was that was our relationship. There were no strings attached. We were just really good, close friends. But then as we got older, because we spent so much time together and, our birthday was our thing, we hung out on our birthday, and it eventually, as we grew older and more mature, it osmosized into being just friends. That's the running joke in our family. We're just friends, and into us being boyfriend and girlfriend, or going together, we called it back then. And that's kind of how we came up. And then we split up. I went into the military, and Tyra went away to college, and we went a little while without seeing each other, and we broke up. The distance was too much. So we broke up. And then
We said
if it was meant to be, God would bring us back together. That's what we said when we parted. And a couple things that happened that were conundrums, if you will. One was I was in Philly. I went to Philly with one of my partners, and if y'all know I DJ. So one of my mixtapes was being played at Jazzy Jeff's club. So I was there, and the people from Philly's radio station, which I believe was Hot 95 or something like that, they wanted me to be on the radio station Sunday morning. And Run DMC was there. A whole bunch of people were in town. But I couldn't do it because we had to be back in formation Monday morning in the Army. So I couldn't do it. So I went back to our military base. Lo and behold, Tyra was in Philly that weekend also. Listening to the radio station, she would have heard me on the radio station. And that probably would have been a catalyst for us getting back together, because, we was like bread dough. If you turn the lights off and heat it up, we were going to be one muffin, But when I got out of the military about 2 years later, I came home, and Tyra had gotten out of college, and she came home. First thing you want to do is go to the club because everybody's there. You want to see everybody. So I went to the club, and Tyra's cousin was like, Tyra's in there, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not really looking at her, but, I ain't going to diss her either. It's been 2 years, So she ended up needing a ride home. Everybody left her. And so I said, well, I'll give you a ride home. I didn't have no ulterior motives, I promise. I said, I'll give you a ride home. So she came on downstairs, 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. Y'all know how it is at the Zodiac. Yeah. And so I dropped her off. And so she wanted me to sit down on the steps and talk with her. So we sat down and talked for the first time in 2 years. And even though she's going to say it ain't so, Tyra proposed to me. She said, do you still want to marry me? Is that a proposal? She said, that ain't a proposal. I said, you asked me, do I want to marry you? And I said, yeah, I'll marry you, And we ended up getting married,
Wait a minute. We said, I was just coming back from college. So, you know, when you're away, then you come back to your mom. I got my cousins staying there, everybody staying there. So we sat at my mother's porch and watched the sun come up. And that's how long we had been talking. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it had to be like 6:30, 7 o'clock. And we was just conversating. I had a boyfriend, he had a girlfriend, and we were just talking. And I know it today to be the spirit, but I said to, I'm just gonna say it like this. The spirit said to me, ask him, does he still want to marry you? Because when we split apart, it wasn't like no crazy breakup or anything. It was like, okay, if it's meant for us to be back together, it would be God that would have to bring us back together. And we were still young. We didn't know the God we know today. We didn't know that God then, but we knew of God. We were raised in the church, so we knew of God, but we know him better even today. But it had to be the Holy Spirit, because I say, God said to me, ask him, does he still want to marry you? And I said, remember you said you want to marry me? Do you still want to marry me? Like that. And he said, I told you, this is what he said. I told you that you were the only woman I ever wanted to have children with. And from that day on, I broke it off with homeboy, and he went all the way to Connecticut and broke it off with whoever she was. But that was what happened. And that's how we ended up getting back together.
I love it. I love it. That's a great love story. Make a great movie as well.
We're still right.
Okay, next we have the Wheeler, 20 years. Tell us your love story. How did you meet? How did you become an item?
Wow. Almost the same kind of scenario, kind of little pieces. Mike and I known each other for over 30 years?
Since 85.
Since 85, okay, yeah. I was a young tenderoni. And he had eyes for me way back then. But I was young, 15 years old, and I was like, nah, because I knew he was a playboy. And I just wasn't,
That's not how we met.
That is how we met. We met, I'm telling my story. Didn't Mr. Jerome say it was 2 sides? This is mine. So, yeah, I was living, we're in Virginia. And actually my aunt had a boyfriend and she was dating this guy. So he wanted to introduce someone to me, which it was this guy right here. So they walked from, you guys aren't from here, but they walked from the James River Bridge, which is probably about 30-minute drive to where I was. So imagine the walk. They walked that long to come and see us. So that's how we met, through a mutual friend that was dating my aunt's boyfriend. That was dating my aunt. So years have passed by. I moved back to Utica. Mike was still here in Virginia. And it was one Thanksgiving Eve. We went to this club that's always popping on Thanksgiving. And we were in the club and I looked over and I saw him. And I told my cousin, I was like, hey, go over there and ask that guy if his name is Michael. And she was like, no, you go over there. I said, no, you go over there and ask. So she went over and asked him, and lo and behold, it was Michael. And we danced all night. And then, how do you come to a club and you don't have a ride home is beyond me. So he needed a ride home and he was like, oh, can I get a ride? I'm like, what? How did you get here?
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Oh, okay. So I ended up giving him a ride back home. And ever since then, we just kept talking. And here we are today. My story. Yours.
Okay.
Michael?
Oh, okay. Listen, she got a little bit right, but she went into how we met first before, like she said it to y'all like we was talking first. That's not the case.
Oh gosh.
The case is that when we took that walk, I had never met her before. I didn't know who she was. My boy was hyping it up. He was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? You won't like her, man. You know what I'm saying? I know your style, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm 15. So, he's a little older than me. I think he was like 17, 18. So I'm following behind him. He telling me every 30 minutes we walk, he's like, oh, it's right up the street. But it wasn't right up the street. So we walked for about 4 hours, and we finally get there and it was already late. It was like 8 o'clock. We started at 3, it was about 8. And, because she's 15, she can't hang out so much. So we only had like maybe 3 hours there, 2 hours, and then her mom was like, y'all gotta go. The crazy part about it is that we really didn't have a ride back. So we slept in front of the house. we slept, we laid in the bushes in front of the house and we went to sleep. And so her stepfather came out to go to work and he saw us out there. And it was cold. It was cold. I mean, it was like, it had to have been about 25. So I'm out there shivering. I had a little bomb on. So I'm out there shivering. The stepdad come outside and he's like, "What are y'all crazy?" You know, he's like, "Y'all," you know, and I'm 15. I'm following the older guy, my older friend, and I'm like, you know, I couldn't even say nothing. My teeth was
shattering.
Yeah, it was just that's how cold I was. So he took us back to where we was, and I told him, I said, "Man, I'm not doing that no more." You know, whatever. So from that point, we started. So we started, you know, talking or whatever. So, you know, then, you know, I thinking that I'm going to holler at her, you know what I'm saying? I think it was in 1989. So I heard that she was back because, again, like she said, she's from Utica. I'm from Virginia. So I heard she was home. So I go there. I go there because her cousin telling me, but what her cousin didn't tell me is something that I'm going to tell y'all in a minute. I go knock on the door. And when I knock on the door, you know, the mom comes in. The mom doesn't say to me like, you know, Mike, you know, her boyfriend is here, nothing. You know, because I don't know she have a boyfriend. So, yeah, she don't say anything. She just let me walk in. I walk in, and I'm like, whoa, you know, I didn't know what to do. The dude was sitting there. She's pregnant. So I'm like, man, shucks, man. So I'm sitting in the house, and I'm like, you know, I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable. But the mom she acting like nothing's wrong. So I leave, and from that point, that was in 1989. I don't see her again till 1998. So that's when she was talking about at that club. I saw her. Now, this is what was crazy about that night. At the club in 1998, I'm in line. There's a girl that's in front of me. She got a nice booty. I'm looking at her booty the whole time, right? So I'm looking at the booty. It's about 3 girls in front of me. We go inside. That same girl that I'm looking at her booty, she's approaching me. I'm thinking she's trying to holler. I'm like, well, you know, maybe she saw me outside, you know what I mean? But that girl was coming to me to say, you know, do you know Shannon? And so, yeah, so that's how it happened. So when she said, you know Shannon, I said, yeah, I walked over there. And it was her family that I was looking at their butts. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, now.
I know now. You know what I'm saying? Because I only knew the mom and the dad and her brother.
God.
That's all I knew out the family. I ain't know nobody else. So, you know, y'all don't judge me on that.
Right.
So that's how we met. And what, 2 years later?
Yeah.
We got married in 2000. So
Yep.
that's how it happened. That's my story.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome stuff. I'm connected to the next couple. Okay, so we got Dave, who's been married, 19 years?
Yeah,
So,
19 to
I
be
can just
2
imagine a story
months.
to tell about how y'all met. So let's have it. Let's have it. Tell us your
Well,
love story.
we only got one story.
That's what cracked me up. I said, "Oh boy!" And when we said we only have one story.
There's only
Like,
one story.
what in
It
the
ain't
world?
you know. No, we met when my grandmother used to live next door to her father, and I didn't really. It was cool to go over there every now and again to my grandmother's, but I didn't really, you know, care too much to go over there. You know, I wanted to rip and run. I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friends, you know. So I get over to my grandmother's, and me and Jeff, her brother, we outside playing. And then Tiffany come outside and, like, you know, telling him he got to come inside. And I'm like, yo, who is that? He's like, yo, chill, that's my sister. I'm like, yo, tell her to come outside. Why we out here playing? all this time and she ain't out here, you know. So I'm telling him, yo, tell her she need to come outside, tell her she need to. So I'm like, I got a full court press on him. And so I get him to go up there and get her and everything. And I'm on the porch waiting for her, like, you know, getting myself together, like.
How
And
old were
Tiffany, and Tiffany, she said, how old was I? I was probably like 6 years old or something like that. I was like 6 or something. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, posted up, like, yeah, you know. And so she come out, she come into the hallway and she's like, come here. I'm like, you know, I go walking up the step, you know, and I don't remember what happened in the meantime. I just know we start kissing and stuff. So we was in the hallway kissing and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then like, huh?
6. He had to be at least 8, 7. I don't know.
I was super young.
We were young, yeah.
I was super young. I say maximum like 8 years old. But I like the number 6 on this one. So
he changes the age every time. It's between 6 and 8. I know that. So I end up leaving. So now, you know, for like the next month, that's all I want to do is go over to Nana house. You know what I'm saying? It could be a school night or whatever. It don't matter. I'm like, I'm going to Nana's. Yeah. But she wasn't over there no more, you know? So similar, like, you know, like to Jerome, like that was like my first time meeting her, and we kissed, you know, that like the first time we ever met each other, and we was really super young. So time goes by, you know, we're doing our thing, but we're still here in the same, you know, community. I've always known her. And then so I've always had that, you know, that crush on her. We should have been going together back in like the Camp Healthmore days, but she used to be playing hard to get. So, you know, I used to save a seat for her on the bus. I used to make everybody like, you know, like, nah, you can't sit with me. Nah, you can't sit with me. And the funny part about that part of the story is people that really don't know Utica like that or know me, they look at me like, how you some young dude and all these older kids going to camp and you telling nobody, you saying nobody sit with you. I'm like, because I had 2 uncles, that wasn't no joke. So I'm like, nope, nobody. You know, so it was either you try to get in the seat with me and I tell my uncle, you know, or you just find another seat. So I would do that until Tiffany get on the bus, and then I'd be like, yeah, you can sit with me. I don't know why you shared that story.
But I was saving a little seat for her. That was me being romantic to her. So I would save a little seat for her riding the camp, you know. She was still playing hard to get. And then, you know, like Jerome, I went into the military. But for like ever, it was just that crush I've always had on her. And then when she soon as she was back on the market, my boy Albert called me up, and the conversation was like this: son, Tiff don't go walk no more. I was like, word? He's like, yeah, son. She don't go with him. I say, yo, where's she? So me and him put the whole plan together from that point. And we put the full court press on her, and then we started dating when I had came back, when I got out we started dating. And we've been rolling since.
I remember Tiffany calling me, and you never really guess who I like. And I was like, who? She was like, Cootie. I was like, little Cootie? She was like, yeah, it's Nora's brother, Cootie. I was like, where'd he come from? It was like a little brother, a little bad brother. He's like, little Cootie, are you serious? And I was like, well, he's old now, right? And she's like, yes. I just want to talk to him. And the rest is history. And the rest is history.
Indeed.
I remember that from our station.
We did. I kissed him. I didn't know what else to say to him, so I used my lips and kissed him on the cheek, and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why, but again, so like he said, that part is true. I don't think he was 6 though.
I don't know, but I think my hair was all together. I have my hair and everything all together, so she was like, "Oh shoot."
Yeah, so that's the part of his story is pretty correct. The one thing he omitted in his story though was riding on the bus that I did not want to sit with him, and there was only like that one seat left. He likes to say, now you could have said other. No, there was only that seat left. And when I go to sit down, like Miss Alberta or Miss Coffee said, he's bad. He says, he goes, sit by the window. And I go, I'm not sitting by the window. You sit by the window. I'm like, no, because you're going to touch me. And he's like, no, I ain't going to touch you. I want to touch you. Like all that stuff, right? No, you could sit by the window. I'm like, okay. So in the old school buses with the high backs, I'm grabbing the seat so I can. My body is like right up to the seat because I don't want him to touch me, So I start sliding over, and he grabs me, and you know what bad boys did back then when, so, and I'm fighting him and he's got me, and I'm like, the older girls are saying, you wanted him to do that. And I'm like, no, I'm like embarrassed. It was crazy, but it was that. We used to go to Addison Miller. He would pull my bathing suit down.
Whoa!
But like you said,
forever. I know how Frank was. Listen, we already know how Frank was when he was young. He owns it. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the Black Shares, who's been married 5 years. 5 years, your love story.
You want me to go first?
It's only one story.
Yeah, it's really only one story. Well, I used to go back and forth to Albany when I was like 20, 22, and partying all the time. I used to go to, we have a mutual friend, her roommate was a mutual friend of ours. And one weekend, I decided to go to UAlbany and visit her. And she came downstairs with her long legs out on purpose, I think.
It was hot.
So from there, we pretty much was friends at first. We started partying together and stuff like that. And I was trying to be smooth a little bit. I was trying to move my way in. I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to see what's good with a little bit. Then it just kind of like naturally started dating. Like it wasn't really nothing crazy. I I liked her. She was different. She wasn't from Utica, and it was just a little different feel. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. We got a mutual friend, and through partying, a lot of drinking together, a lot of drinking together. That's pretty much it. It's not really nothing crazy. Just really we organically like fell in love with each other.
He leaving out the part about how he was sliding up in my inbox constantly, begging for my phone number, and I finally gave him. He left that part out, but things did just naturally connect for us. That's it.
That's pretty much it. It's not crazy.
Okay. And the Cowens, welcome to Cowens. They were from North Carolina. This is Lystra. Really, Lystra? Lystra and Chad Cowens. They're my friends from North Carolina. They've been married for 4 years. So tell us your love story. Wait, make sure you're not on mute. Are you on mute? No, you're off mute.
No, that's what I was trying to unmute and I end up hitting the video. Hi everybody. You go ahead and start.
All right, so I would say our love story started when we was working together. We was working at a it's funny, it was a telemarketing place, and so everybody in there was, they had their own lives. There's a bunch of misfits in the building. So, and long story short, I seen her so many times, and I would always look at her, and we would always be competing with one another, saying it was gonna be the best in the building as far as like at our jobs, and so they would always pair me and my wife together. So it was kind of funny, how it started, and I wasn't really on my feet, and there was a lot of things going on, and one day she asked me did I want to ride home, and she gave me a ride home, and then that one day led to 2 days I was getting a ride home, and then like her and her friend girls, Sierra, one of her friend girls, they'd be going out shoot pool at night, and she'd invite me out and like, you want to come and shoot pool with us and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna be with a bunch of girls. I'm like, yeah, I'll be the bodyguard or whatever. So I went out. Guys was always trying to holler at her, and they be asking me because I was the only guy with a bunch of girls. They be like, "Yo, man, who's Shorty right there?" And I'd be like, "Yo, that's my friend," And there's one guy. It was a truck driver. He was really in love with my wife now, and he was like, "Yo, man, do me a favor. I want you to give my information to Shorty." So I ain't think nothing of it because I looked at it like we was like really good friends. So I went to her and I was like, yo, this guy, he really like feeling you, So I was gonna give her the information. She was like, nobody think about that guy, I was like, all right, cool. So, I felt like it was still some hope, It was still a little bit of hope left there, but time went on, and one particular day, man, I'm just making a long story short. I got tired of, being the friend. And hell, she dropped me off, and I went around to the other side to thank her for the ride. And I don't know, something in me was like, man, it's now or never. And I went in for a kiss. I just took a kiss. I was just like, mwah, I kissed on the lips. She looked, and everything just like stopped for like a couple of seconds. Everybody we were just like looking at each other like what just happened? And I was like, yeah. And I did it again, like, mwah, took another one. And, she never said that. She was just like, she was holding the steering wheel, like just looking straight. Like did this just happen? And I went in the house, but rewinding back a little bit, before I stole that kiss, when the very first time she gave me a ride, she was like, look, I don't know you like that. I got a 45 up under the seat, so don't try nothing crazy. And I was like, well, why would you offer me a ride if you're going to tell me you got a 45 under the seat, and don't try nothing crazy. So she was just letting me know, but anyway, long story short, man, that was the best stolen kiss I could have ever did in my life. So, I mean, here we are. I ain't gonna even go and draw it out no other type of way, but you know, it's a blessing. God knows He don't make no mistakes, so I'm happy.
Oh, it seems like Rob started with a ride. Somebody never ride somewhere. Somebody.
We were saying the exact same thing, and yeah, we, like he said, we started off like really, really good friends, very competitive in the market that we were in.
Yeah.
And then it was raining, and one day I just seen him walk off because I never really paid attention. I'm like, "Yo, son, where you going?" He's like, "I'm going home." Like, through the woods. Like, where are you going?
Yeah.
So he's right. It turned into rides, and then we really enjoyed, you know, each other. I enjoyed his company. I truly did, and I did not think of him in any other kind of way but that friend. We go to the gym. We worked out. You know, we did so much things together. Yeah, we went to concerts. I mean, it was crazy. And then he definitely changed the whole narrative. And I did kind of stick to the wheel, like, yo, I'm like, the heck, who kisses their friends?
So yeah, so I'm gonna tell you, she told me one day, she was like, we was at work, and she was like, yo, I need your help. I need a favor, but I'm not paying you. And I was like,
Oh,
like, what are you talking about?
He looked at me like this. He was
I'm like, what, you know, how can I help?
He was thinking of another kind of favor.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, for sure. For sure, I can help, you know. And she was like, you're gonna help me work out, and you're gonna be my trainer. And I was like, all right, cool. So we started going and working out. And man, I'm talking about, I would work her so hard. She would just, when the workout was over, she'd just be laying on the bench sweating, just laying there. And she couldn't even get up. She would just like roll over and fall on the floor, you know. So that's we just developed, you know, a really good relationship. She had been in a bad relationship, and I had been in a bad relationship. I didn't want no more relationship. She was saying she didn't want a relationship. So we were just friends. And, you know, I don't know, man. You know, God got a different way of doing things when you make one plan and He make other plans. So it's a blessing. I didn't think I was gonna be in no more relationship though.
I didn't even think I was gonna be married again, let alone I got a whole husband.
Yeah.
But the reciprocated love is just so amazing, you know. And it took me a while to really realize that I could love. I was like, man, it's just the whole dynamics of me and myself after I rediscovered myself. I'm like, damn, I could do this. It's such a wonderful feeling, and I appreciate it.
Berta, my soul lost.
Mine. He said, my soul
Going
lost.
on you right now. So all the stories are great stories, and they're very warming to the heart. I'm the only single one here. I'm divorced, but I wear my single badge proudly because I'm happily single. Okay. And seeing couples that's been married 30, 20, 10 years, to me, it seemed like it's kind of fading in a sense. Couples don't stay together as long as they used to. So I want to ask Mackenzie, what is the biggest misconception of marriage? Wait, I think I gotta unmute you. Hold on. What's the biggest?
That people think is perfect. People think it's perfect. People think that it's perfect, and we might make it look easy, but we work on our relationship every day. And one key that I think I picked up from everybody is that you got to be friends. You got to be friends. And we were friends before we was lovers or intimate, you know, but people tend to think that this thing right here is perfect. It's not perfect. It's working for us. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I think people think, that is perfect. They look, oh, it's perfect. You know, it's perfect for us, but it's something that you work on every day.
Right. What about
Well, what she said,
the wheel?
what she said.
Oh, wait,
Oh, okay,
Go
okay.
ahead, babe.
Well, what she
Go
said
ahead.
about her answer about the biggest misconception is number one. I think another big misconception is that marriage is not fun, that it gets boring. And I think just as we work hard to make it work, you know, because it's not easy, we also work hard to have fun. We laugh every day. We go through all of the emotions, but we make sure that laughter and happiness and fun is a big part of our relationship. We're constantly doing things ourselves or with other people that is fun. We have a lot of fun. So we enjoy this ride, you know. We've been married 34 years, but we probably haven't even hit the middle of our ride. We still having a ball. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions, or one of them, is that you can't have a ball when you're married. All the fun stops. That's just not true. You just got to step your game up. I can't hear you.
Does anyone want to add to that? I don't know. Somebody speaking? If it's speaking, I mean,
I'll add to it.
go ahead.
Am I on mute?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that marriage is just a piece of paper, because people will throw that out like it means nothing. It's just a piece of paper that certify you, but it's so much bigger, because if something was to happen to that person, you spent all these years with this person, and unfortunately, hopefully nothing ever happens, but let's just say something happens and you have no power to say what's going to happen, who could be in a hospital room, how they're going to be buried. You have nothing. So all these years you put into that person, and then the mother that you may not have got along with, his mom, now gets to come and makes all the decisions. It's so much bigger than just a piece of paper. So that's one of the, biggest misconceptions I think that people say about marriage.
I wanted to add to that. I think one of the biggest misconceptions of marriage is that I think people think you go searching for somebody that's a quote unquote soulmate, right? And when they find that person, you get everything falls into place. You get married and live happily ever after. That's not the case. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Because one, the amount of work that goes into marriage is, I think, understated on so many occasions. And times like this, when we get to talk about this stuff, it's understated, because it's one thing to say, okay, I got to work on this aspect, or I got to work on this aspect. But I'm sure people like Jerome, the Wheelers, and us, we have a lot of years in. But what I've noticed about marriage is that every certain number of years, there's a different new set of obstacles. Mm-hmm. So the work goes in levels. So the level of work that you do in year 1 through, say 5 is going to be different than the level of work you're going to do, 5 through 10. And so you have to be with someone that can go through that, through those obstacles and fight with you and be on the same page as you. Even if I can use a sports analogy, even if they're not one of the best players on the team, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes my wife got to carry us through those obstacles. Sometimes the husband's got to carry us through those obstacles, but nevertheless, collectively as a team, we make it through. But I think that whole idea that, you meet somebody that's your soulmate and then you get married and everything falls into place, is just the furthest thing from the truth, you know. And I think in a lot of our stories that we started out with, you know, I don't really think anybody even mentioned the word soulmate, because I think what we're going through is deeper than the term soulmate. You know what I mean? But what was used all the time throughout the conversations was God. You know, so I think that's the biggest misconception that I've seen and heard over the years.
All right. I want to add to it as well. I believe the biggest misconception is understanding everything that you'll have to do in a relationship or in a marriage. A lot of people get into it and they think, like you said, it's going to be happily ever after you get married. That's not how it works. If somebody gets sick, like the young lady said, you got to be willing to, take care of them. I mean, you took those vows, and who knows what tomorrow will bring. Are you okay enough with yourself, to be able to take care of somebody else? Because one thing I learned is if you can't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. And you got to be willing to be strong enough to go through that. And then that's just my biggest, I think the biggest misconception. A lot of people don't think about tomorrow. They don't think about the future. They just hop in and ride along. I think you have to be selfless. It's not about you. It's bigger than you once you're in a relationship. So it's a lot of giving and a lot of taking. And I know it ain't gonna be perfect. Me and my wife, we get mad at each other all the time, but I wouldn't dare, put her down or disrespect my wife because I love her. But yeah, it's a lot of give and take. I know we new to this. I'm willing to go along with the ride. I'm willing to do what it's gonna take. I ain't going nowhere. I tell all the time, we get mad at each other. I say, you know what? I ain't going nowhere, so might well get over it. You can go in your room, stay in there for 2-3 hours. It is what it is. I come knock on the door. Once we done cool down, I won't even apologize. I just give her a kiss. That's my way of saying, I'm sorry, or forgive me, or I still love you. But that's what it's all about, man. Black love is very important. And it's deeper than that. I think
Spiritual.
It's definitely spiritual. Definitely spiritual. But in the world that we're living in right now, we need each other as couples more than anything, because we faced as Black people with a lot. Black women have carried Black men through history, and you gotta respect them for that. We gotta love them for that. But we also have to be the men and stand up and be willing to die for our family, man. Willing to stand up and be the man, no matter what it takes. So, and that's the misconception, because a lot of people get married and they're not ready. They'll run off and leave their wife in the wrong situation.
I've been with Tyrone for 10 years. You better put a ring on my finger.
So that's just me.
That part. All right. So the Black Shears, you are one of the youngest couples on the panel. What was something that I guess you believed about marriage prior to getting married?
So I'm going to answer that. I just wanted to answer this really quick. I know I was going to say that in our generation, I feel like the younger people, a lot of people want the ceremony, but not necessarily the marriage. I find that so many women go into it like wanting this elaborate wedding, this dress, these roses, this cake, and they spend so much energy into that instead of making sure that they have the right partner and that they're willing to put in the work that it takes to sustain a marriage. Because like everyone said, it's not perfect. It's not always roses. Like there's going to be fights. There's going to be disagreements. You're learning and growing together. And I just feel like they're so willing to give up and they don't really focus on sustaining that marriage portion. So that's what I'm finding with our younger generation. I'm around girls my age all the time, and they're like laying out their demands and the things they want on their wedding day. And I'm like, okay, that day is just 5 hours. Like what about the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years? So that's what I'm seeing. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, no, and I was gonna say the same thing. Piggyback off of that. The guys my age and a little younger, they don't really want to put the work in with the women. They don't want to let the women be not perfect. Like they want to be not perfect, but then want the women to be like exactly what they want. Like everybody has flaws. You just gotta be willing to accept your partner with the flaws. A lot of guys my age don't want to wait for that. They want to pick them like that's perfect right there. But which is it's gonna take longer. It's gonna take longer doing that, trying to find the perfect one. But.
And then to answer your question, Alberta, I honestly really had no idea what marriage was. Like, you know, my parents weren't married. I do have 2 sets of amazing aunts and uncles, one who has 25 years under their belt and one that has 40 years under their belt. So I kind of saw that a little bit growing up, but I didn't really get to see too many healthy relationships. So I kind of knew that I wanted to be different from what I grew up around. Like I knew that I wanted a healthy marriage and partner. So I really didn't know what to expect. I did kind of think once we signed on the dotted line, like things were gonna like automatically change, and they didn't. So I did find out very early that we do have to put the work in, and I think it was equally harder for us because we were so young going into it. So we were still learning and growing as individuals, but we were also learning and growing as partners, and that's so tough to do both at the same time. So I will say, make sure you know who you are before going into a marriage, because you are probably going to change, but you're also going to grow as a unit as well. So.
Yeah, and I would say before we got married, everybody knows I got a huge family, so I seen a lot of my aunts and uncles be married a very long time, and I grew up in the house with my aunt and uncle. They basically been together since I was born, so I watched them go through their ups, their downs, never straying away from each other, always working through things. And I watched my other aunts and uncles do the same thing. My parents weren't married at the time. My mother's been married since 2009, so I had like a lot of good examples of what to do before I got married. So I knew that's what I wanted to do, because I had a strong, like I said, I got a strong family background. A lot of people that are married, been married a very long time.
Can I piggyback off of Brianna? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, my wife and I have been married for quite a while, 34 years, but we can both remember when we really didn't have, we talked about being married through high school. We didn't get married until she graduated and I got out of the service. But that conversation about marriage through high school was about the fact that we didn't have any examples.
Yeah, we were
to
high school
show
sweethearts.
us.
We forgot that part.
Yeah, we didn't have any examples. There weren't many people in our family that were and stayed married. And even if they did, they didn't counsel us about marriage. So one of the things we did do as young kids, which I thought was ingenious, is that we collectively decided that we would have God as our marriage counselor. We believe that no one can give us what they do not have. So we wasn't going to take marriage counseling and relationship counseling from people who were not married or in a relationship. And so we had decided that we would let God be our counselor. And in all honesty, for us, I don't know if it'll work for everybody else, but for us, every time we get into the thickest of binds and we turn to our Creator, He shows us a way out that works. And I think that's critical to a marriage, is sometimes, and this is what we say when we talk to other couples, sometimes it's your, because we counsel couples, sometimes it's your friendship that's going to be the only thing holding you together. And so shame on you if you haven't developed a good, healthy friendship, because that's the glue that's going to hold you together when you think you hate each other. But then sometimes it's God that holds you together. And what we say is, if you don't want to talk to the other person in the relationship, because it's a tripart relationship, the covenant you make in your matrimonial service is between you, your spouse, and your Creator. And so if you don't want to talk to your spouse, it's time to talk to your creator. If you're not talking to one, then make sure you're talking to the other. And I think that was critical for us being able to go this long time and still be married.
That's awesome. This is a kiss and kiss question. How tall?
Say that again.
This is a miss or kiss question. How tall is your wife?
Okay.
Who's it for? Us?
How tall?
Or anybody?
Yeah, how tall is Tyra?
Oh. How tall am I?
How tall? Oh, I'm sorry. Tyra is 5'3". So I get a kiss.
That's right.
I get the kiss. I get the kiss. I get the kiss.
Oh.
Miss Tiffany and Franklin, what song makes you think of your spouse?
Say it again. We couldn't underhear.
What song makes you think of your spouse?
Oh,
What song is that?
talking to Tiffany.
What song makes you think of your spouse?
Makes me think of my spouse.
No.
Oh,
Mr. DJ. Mm-hmm.
that's a good one. I don't know if I have, like that one, that one song that I would say like
You missed that, Cody. You had time.
I know
Don't get a kiss.
the one
You don't get a
song,
kiss.
I got it. It's I can't even think of the name now because
You under pressure. You under pressure.
that was a good that she tripped me up with that one, right?
Cody, you don't get a kiss.
I would say because around the time me and Tiffany, like we was like on the road, traveling back and forth from Charlotte to Utica, and the Music Soul Child CD was like fire at the time, and the song Love was like, we would be in the car just, we didn't care nothing about notes and tones and none of that. You know what I'm saying? But that's one that I think of, and I think we thought about that being our wedding song too.
No, we already married.
You don't get a kiss, Cody. You took too long.
I too loud.
And Brianna, kiss or miss? What? This is I'm asking the guys a question because y'all don't be knowing stuff. Wait. What is your favorite physical feature on your spouse?
Oh, them legs. Oh, them legs.
Oh, you did say legs. You did a point. You said legs earlier.
Can I get a kiss?
Yeah, you get a kiss. You get a kiss. You get a kiss. The Wheeler. Let's see. This is it. This should be. Michael, what is Shannon's favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tyra, who are Jerome's two closest friends?
Friends.
His two closest friends.
Okay, he got two sets. I would say growing up was Kevin Lockhart, and the second one is Jonathan Brooks. Those were his two buddies and brothers. And now I would say Fred Gaston and his brother Aldo.
He's correct 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Rudy, Franklin, Tiffany. Who do you think can do without their phone for a day?
Say it again.
Who do you think can do without their phone for a day?
Oh, that's easy. Me. I would have to give Franklin oxygen.
Oh,
Where's my Chris? That's the right.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I have to give Franklin mouth to mouth, really, if he didn't have his phone.
All right, Ed and Brianna, what is your dream vacation?
Probably Hawaii. Hint, hint.
Is that yours too, Ed?
Yes, it. We've never been there. That's like number one on the list.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see the cow ones came back in. I'm sorry. I didn't let y'all back in. I'm sorry. Hold on. They got kicked out. So now we're playing Kiss or Miss. And this is a game that I have with couples. These called at random. I'm trying to make them fit the situation. All right. So Collins, what is the most exciting or interesting thing that happened to you this week as a couple?
This week?
Mm-hmm.
What was the question?
Did you say this week?
Yes. What's the most exciting or interesting thing that happened to you this week as a couple?
I don't know. That's a hard one. Because for me, I would say, me coming surprising my wife last night with all her Valentine's gifts. I didn't do it. I didn't wait to today to do it. I did it last night. And when she went and picked up my daughter from volleyball practice, just, the card and, everything that I got her, when she read the card off, it just, just seeing her happy, seeing how happy she was. I don't know. I guess to me, that was my most exciting part, honestly.
Let me tell you the most exciting part for me this week. When I tell you it was priceless, I got some sleep.
Okay.
For y'all that don't know, we got a puppy. Puppy's only 12 weeks, so we're doing potty training. So therefore, I wake up every 2 hours to take her out. When he was like, yo, I got it, enough said. That was the best thing that happened to me this week. Might be ain't nothing for nobody, but when I tell you that was priceless, honey, I was drooling and everything, I know.
I was not even down to the point because y'all wasn't on the same thing. Okay, so the Wheelers, Shannon, what is Michael's favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, you would ask me that because this guy is a movie addict.
Honey, you don't have no favorite movie.
I don't really think he has a favorite because he watched so many movies. I don't think he has a favorite. He's just a movie guy. He loves watching movies. It don't matter what it is.
That's the right answer.
Okay, Michael, what's your favorite movie? Huh? That's the right answer?
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm a movie person. Yeah, I watch it.
So you don't have one particular favorite.
You should have said Baby Boy because yesterday I did say something about Baby Boy.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Did you get a kiss? Did you get a kiss for that? No.
He got one. You want another?
All right. Okay, so I want to go back into question time again. How can we describe, and I know the answer, but he kind of says, wait, let me change that. Let me change that. So we come back to Mr. Kiss. What actor or actress would you choose to play a story in your life? Okay, go start. Tiffany and Franklin. Well, who's gonna be your actress, and actresses to play you? I'm asking everybody this question so I can be thinking about it.
To play Tiffany is gonna be Hillary Banks from what's it called?
And to play Franklin, it would be Mace. Mace gonna play.
It'd be who?
No.
He gonna rap.
Okay.
Who are you? See?
She said Mace.
Yeah, Mace.
That's a hard
I can see Mace.
That's a hard question.
All right,
Yeah,
Mackenzie, so what play you guys act in the movie?
Crackhead. Yeah.
You have to do it. Oh, she have to do
we
it.
could have did it.
Okay.
You want to go first? Go ahead.
Morris Chestnut will have to play him.
Okay.
Not Idris, because then it'll be a fight.
I would say Morris Chestnut is short, but anyway, I would say
Samuel Jackson.
to play Tyra would be
Angela Bassett.
I'm supposed to pick. Now you done got Morris Chestnut already. I like Tracy Ross to play Tyra.
Tracy Ross.
Yeah,
Because she's so
from
funny.
Blackish, because she's funny.
Okay.
Okay, Shannon and Michael, who play y'all?
For me, I would choose Tyrese or Morris Chestnut. I love them both, and they're dark skinned and bald headed.
Okay, I got two. I got Gabrielle and it's a girl that play Love and Basketball.
Oh, Sanaya Latham.
Yeah.
Okay. And Brianna?
Go ahead.
I will pick Denzel, but he feels like the late Chadwick Boseman would fit him better.
That's my guy.
Because he's cool, calm, and collective. But
For me, she don't like her, but I
didn't
like
say that.
I like Gabrielle for her, or Taraji P. Henson.
Okay. Let's run. Who's your actor? Who'll play you?
I said she would be Gabrielle Union too. So, but man, he got me. He beat me to the punch. Or she'd be like a Janet Jackson.
Janet
Yeah.
I said
She played in movies. She played in movies
I
before.
said Vivica Fox. I think Vivica Fox. Where she at?
And we can't figure out one for me. So.
Sticky fingers.
The guy who played
Okay.
in King. Who played in Don't Be a Menace.
50.
That was Kane.
I could see 50. Yeah, Kane.
That was Kane.
I could see Kane. I could see 50. I don't see no Janet Jackson
All right.
or Gabrielle.
Okay, I said Gabrielle Union, or it would be Whitney when she was at her best. Yeah.
All right. All right, so my next question is, okay, so we always keep talking about love, we're talking about God, we're talking about imperfection. So my next question would be, how can we just, I guess, this is this question. What is, describe the perfect marriage, in a sense. I'm sure there's not, but in your best interpretation of what a perfect marriage is, what would that be? Okay, let's start with I start with the cow ones because y'all been going last all the time. So describe a perfect marriage, your definition of a perfect marriage.
I guess for me, I would say just, being in harmony at all times, which is virtually impossible, but I guess that's why you want to call it a perfect marriage. Just, I don't know, being on the same page, always, working together. Everybody know what they're supposed to do without saying, it just, everything just clicks. Sometimes we know each other well enough to be able to do that, but I'm just saying to do everything without having to say, just being in perfect unison. So that's my idea.
Yeah, but that's such a hard question because there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. But if I have to say and put my marriage right now in that category, I mean, we are new. We're not 34, 19, 20 something years in, but I would think right now that my marriage is perfect because we do reciprocate that love. We do appreciate each other's feelings. We do know, okay, what does my wife need? What does my husband need? What was the last thing that he says? I take everything that he tells me in consideration and I let it manifest within me. I'll dissect it to see, what I need to omit out of it to come up with reasoning. But for the most part, I respect him. And I mean, a perfect marriage, you've got to be able to respect each other. And then the love that I see that he has for the children, for our household, for me, and we pray together. I mean, to me, that's perfect. I don't need anything else, So
yeah, I guess it would be, your own personal definition. Everybody, interpretation is actually a big word. So, how you interpret a perfect marriage is going to be up to that individual.
The only thing that we haven't finessed yet, is when I ask him, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I'll eat anything that you make. You cook it. No, tell me what you want to eat. Then it will be perfect. Just call out the dish and I'll figure something out.
Actually, describe in your terms what the perfect marriage is.
Who?
The Black Chairs.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's definitely a hard question. It's so loaded. I think definitely two people who are like whole within themselves coming together and being whole as a unit. Because I think sometimes if you got your own stuff you're battling with, or you're not all the way there yet, and then you're trying to go on this journey with someone else, there's going to be issues, you're going to clash. And just having like healthy communication. I know that's like a cliche answer, but you'll be surprised the amount of people that just can't communicate with each other. If you have that healthy communication, it'll help you like solve so many issues and get through problems together. What else? What do you think?
I think the communication is like number one for anything. If you could learn, if a marriage was to me was to be perfect, it would be 100% communication, knowing exactly what your partner wants, each and every time. That's what I would say would be number one to me, from my short experience.
And then just a lot of equal give and take, I think too, can just help make the relationship very like smooth sailing.
Yeah, give and take. Yeah, a lot of give and take, a lot of give.
Oh, please. I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Davises, what is a perfect marriage in your terms?
Oh, you can go first.
I think the perfect marriage in my eyes is our ability to allow God to make the final decisions. If the one thing I know, nobody can shake me off of it. There's been times, and if your ability to just forget about how you feel whenever there's an issue, when you tap into God, your response to that tapping into God, that to me is the perfect marriage, because God will never, ever, at all of my years of walking with God, communicating with God, and being married, God has never, ever told me anything about Tiffany. He's always told me about me and the adjustment I need to make. You know what I'm saying? And it's never about, now we could have a situation where I feel like Tiffany is tripping and she's wrong. And when I check in with God, you know, he'd tell me something like, but what did I tell you to do? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it really, God, you know, when we pray every day, we thank him for being the head of our lives and our marriage. So that is very, very important. And we speak that daily. So for me, I think in any marriage, I don't care what walk of life you from, if you say, I'm going to allow God to lead this thing, it will be perfect. It's going to look different. All of them going to look different, but your marriage will be perfect.
Thank you. Whalers? Same question. Oh, you had something, Tiffany? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Always going past me fast. I want to piggyback on basically what everyone has said, including Franklin. To me, communication and connection, right? That connection, and the connection is so important in this way. Like you said, every time we go up in increments, whether it's, you know, a few years, 5 years or so, we change as individuals. As you and I have talked every day about, like, as we're getting older, we're going through some changes in our femalehood right now. And I need to communicate that with Franklin, because I don't want to build up a resentment, or I don't want to build up anything within me because he's not sensitive to this change in my life. So I have to communicate that to him. And I still have to adjust things within me so that we can stay connected. So we go through things all the time, and you know, individually. And so to work on us as individuals to be whole and to communicate the changes that's within us, or, you know, to me is very important, and to stay connected emotionally and, you know, intimately, and things of that nature as we're going through this life of ours that we're building together. Thank you.
Thank you. Whalers?
Okay. For me, like everybody said, there's of course no perfect marriage, not one. And we're not perfect people, not one of us. We all strive every day to be perfected and to craft our gifts. And I often say, like, every marriage has its own toolbox. And what's in my toolbox might not be in yours. You know, this group might need sandpaper. This one might need a power drill. This one might need super glue. It just depends on who you are. But communication is definitely one of the main ingredients for any successful marriage. Of course, God has to be the center. I love when me and my husband pray together. I love when we speak over each other's lives and we, you know, encourage each other. I love that part of our marriage. Has it been perfect? Absolutely not. Have we both messed up? Absolutely so. But I also don't believe in, you know, people use the term we're fighting for our marriage. I've never said I will fight for my marriage, because most of the time fighting is what separates you. So when we get back together and we say we're going to make this thing work and we're going to fix it, that's what did it for us. Also, I think that a lot of times, if you just pay attention to each other and what you're saying, you'll know what you need and what that marriage needs. Because even if you argue or regularly speaking, you say a lot. So just pay attention to detail, follow that through, and that can be one of the greatest ingredients for your marriage. And to love on each other, and don't allow other people to come in and dictate what works for your marriage.
Well, I mean, being in tune mentally, spiritually, and physically is one of the, top-notch things that you got to be able to do. But, that's all I'm going to say on that. But I got to say something to the couple right there. Listen, my brother, I go through the same thing. She asked me, what do I want to eat today?
Yes.
Every time I tell her, listen, every time I tell her what I want to eat, you know what she say? I don't want that. So guess what? I don't do it no more. I'm done with that. So I feel you. I feel you, my man. I feel you.
Back to this.
Okay, the McKenzies.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, good.
I'm just gonna go right back in there with my three brothers. I'm the same way after all these years. When she say, what you want to eat, a lot of times I know good and well if I tell her what I want, she gonna say, I don't got a taste for that. And I said, that's what, and then, and I say, listen, everything you cook is fine with me. Pick what you want. You the picky one. Pick what you want. I eat. I'm a soldier. You put it on the table, I'm gonna eat it. So that's how I get around that. But all of y'all have said so many good things. And I think the great thing is that everybody is on different levels of relationship. So it's good to hear, because the perspective, or if we're asked these questions, or for some of you who are married 4 years or 5 years, in another 10 years or 15 years, when you got 20 years behind your belt and you're asked the same questions, the answers will change because you have progressed, you have evolved, your relationship has evolved. But the main thing that I would say is it's an evolution. That is the real only evolution. Everything else is creation. But after your marriage is created, then the evolution begins. And it's never 50-50, because we hear that cliche all the time. It's each one putting in 100%, because it's the contribution of both people that give that relationship or marriage its well-rounded appeal, is that both people have put in the best of their talent and ability. So of course we say there's no perfect marriage, but what makes it bearable for the next round of years, one of the things that we put in place is that, in our communication, which we've all collectively brought up, in our communication, there are the things that you can live with. I can live with that, because neither person is perfect, which has been brought up already. There's the things you can live with. Your mate ain't perfect, but there are things you can live with. And so you can communicate about that. It's all right. I can live with that. But then there's those things you can't live without, and that's different. And that really requires strict communication, because there are those things in every individual's life that they can't live without. It crosses the line of their DNA. They're not born to deal with certain things. Those are the things that you can't do without. You're not born to do without those things. So we always, for instance, how do I say it? For instance, if your partner is a thief and you're not born that way, that's something you can't live with. You're gonna have to change that, because I can't live with that. Or if a person is a liar, or whatever it is that vexes you, if they're sneaky, if they cheat, or whatever, those may be things you can't live with. And so you gotta communicate and listen, I can't live with that. That'll finish us. I can't live with that. So you gotta communicate the things you can't live with. But you also have to communicate the things you can't live without. I can't live without a hug. I can't live without a kiss. I can't live without you saying I love you before I go out the door and before you go to bed. There are the things you can't live without. And so it's very important to communicate those things. And what I believe we've learned is that when we operate under those statutes, very rarely do you leave the real important stuff out. Y'all feel me?
So even being married for 30 plus years, there's still non-negotiables within that marriage.
Oh yeah, I said, yeah, that's why I said we get so much from the people who are just getting married and the people who've been married a while. I don't believe that ever ends. I believe that's a constant form of communication. In your relationship will evolve, but the communication is still a common denominator. You get better at things as you go, but the communication is a common denominator. And one more thing we said was, we never want to arrive at a perfect marriage, because a perfect marriage is the end of the race. That's the goal. It's all over and done. We always want to keep growing. We want to stay in a green stage. So we always want to constantly be evolving to a better us. I have to constantly work to evolve to become a better me, as my wife should constantly evolve to be a better her. What do you think?
That's good.
Just grow. Grow. Just grow.
Grow. Okay. So I really wanted to get to this game a little bit more, but our time is like going over. So I do want to sum it up as in Black love is, and you guys will finish that line. So Black love is what, Collins? What is Black love is?
Oh, who you asking?
Oh, the Collins. That's the Collins.
Oh.
Listen, Chad. Black love
All right.
is.
Black love is the most powerful thing on the face of this earth, as long as you have God first. Black love is everything. It is what the kids need to see. It gives them an example. It is what we need in this journey of life to be able to feel fulfilled before our time comes to expire. It makes the journey worthwhile, worth living. When you can feel love is one of the things that we need to be able to be a person. It's essentials that you have to have in order to feel wholesome. And love is definitely, and then if you go back to the biblical sense of it, it said love is the greatest commandment of them all. So I think that kind of sums it up.
Endurance.
Thank you. Oh, I have one more question before I forget for the McKenzies, or for anybody that want to answer. With black, I'm only speaking for myself. As a Black woman, I have often believed that love comes with long suffering. Do we have to suffer when it relates to love in the Black community?
False. My man referenced Corinthians 13. But the good book also says love covers a multitude of sin, which means that no matter what happens, we're covered. But I don't believe my love should hurt. I shouldn't hurt my husband. And when I attach long suffering or suffering, that's part of hurt. I'm not trying to hurt him or nobody else for that matter. So I don't, and I don't want him, Nah, we too late stage in the game. Even from in the beginning, we're not trying to hurt each other, you know? And as we grow, when you talk about love, I don't, you know, some people say love hurt. Nah. I'm just not for that.
Okay.
Well, what you said was long suffering, and then you asked the question, should we suffer? When in a biblical stance, again, suffering and long suffering are two different things. Long suffering is patience. It's loving a person. Long suffering comes when a person has a flaw and they need your help or support to overcome. Sickness requires long suffering. Addiction requires so long suffering is the patience, maybe on your part as a person, but also the patience to allow Yahweh, our creator, to move things in this universe so that they fall on our behalf. So not only do we have to be patient with the person that may have or be overcome with the flaw, we have to be patient with the process it takes for us physically to get through it. And we also have to be patient with the process that it may take for God to work things out. So to me, that's long suffering. Suffering, I don't believe everyone has to go through it, but many of us do. And that's just a part of being a ride or die person in a relationship. You may have to suffer the fact that your spouse has thousands of dollars of debt. I'm not laughing because my wife went through that, but that's an issue that comes up is when you inherit the economic irresponsibility of your spouse. You have to suffer to get through that. If a person loses their job, you have to suffer to get through that. So there's a little bit of a line between long suffering and suffering, but there's suffering and then there's sacrifice and the wisdom to know the difference of the two. We both can't be 100% of ourselves when God has made us one flesh. We become one flesh. There's some things that I'm going to have to shed. I'm going to have to shed talking to all the girls on the phone, going out and hanging with guys and girls. I'm going to have to shed some of that stuff to make room for this new relationship with a one flesh partner. So there is some sacrifice that I believe has to be made. And so there's a difference between suffering can be a little selfish. Sacrifice is a little more in the spirit, the spiritual realm. Suffering may be the physical side of things, the fleshly man or woman, but sacrifice is a lot of times on the part of the spiritual man or spiritual woman.
Thank you. Now we can go into Black Love is.
Same couple?
I think, yeah, you can go. Black Love is.
Yeah, Black love is the most powerful example of love on the planet. There's nothing stronger than Black love. I don't believe there's very many couples that go through the things to create their love than we go through to create Black love. I think that we have the biggest margin of single parent families or single people versus married couple than any other genre out there. So therefore, when you find true Black love, a lot of times it's faceted like a diamond, but it's very polished like a pearl. It's very dense like onyx, but it's very light like the spirit. Black love has so many facets. It in itself changes people who are in the presence of a couple that really encompass Black love. I think Black love moves itself just by watching it. It'll change you just by watching a couple that has real Black love. Black love is the opposite of kryptonite, I believe. And I believe when Yahweh created love, he created love with children of his own image that scientifically are proven to be Black. So Black love is the original design by our creator of love encompassed in the flesh.
I ain't got nothing to say on that. He covered it.
Okay, Black Karen. Black love is. I know what the love is.
Black
Karen.
I don't know if we can follow up with that. Black love is everything. It's magical, it's powerful, it's a breath of fresh air, it's breathtaking. And I think it's just so essential, especially in the times that we're living in now, for our Black kids to see their mothers and fathers, or just their mothers and fathers with different partners, loving on each other the way they should be loved on, caring for each other. I think it's so important for our community. I just think it's the best thing in the world, and I wouldn't want any other type of love.
Yeah, to me, Black love is important. But Black love is important. It's the most important thing, I think, in my generation, into bringing in this new world with technology and stuff like that. I think if us younger generation focus on loving I should say Black men. If Black men focus more on loving Black women, the world would be a better place. That's my opinion. Yeah, so Black love is super important.
Very good. A lot of people in the back. Okay, Wheelers. Black love is.
Yo, yeah, my man said it perfectly. Especially from the spiritual realm of it, because we grew up, knowing that or seeing this image of Jesus with being a white man, but we all know that his skin was bronze. We all know that his hair was sheep wool. See, you want to get somebody preaching over there, my man. We all know that, right? So yes, that's the essence of Black love right there. He's definitely right. He's on point with that. But I think what amazes me about Black love is that when me and my wife are doing things that we feel like are normal, like everybody else makes it seem like it's so big. I'm like, it's just normal to us. Like we just chilling or whatever. People come over here because we entertainers, so we like to have company and we like to do things all the time. And people are always making comments and stuff. I myself don't pay attention to it. I'm just being me. And and when we on social media, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? So I think that the power of it, is what it's what's so strong. When other people look at you and they say, wow, y'all been together for 20 years, and I sometimes got to say, wow, myself, long time, but I think that's the most powerful thing. As my man said, the spiritual aspect of it. And, and I think that people who are like that, who are like ourselves, I'm going to use us because we here, right? So people like ourselves who, as I'm listening to everybody talk and I'm feeling strength from y'all relationship, like I'm getting empowered by y'all, and y'all, even if y'all didn't say anything, that's how powerful y'all, I'm looking at y'all. Even if y'all didn't say anything, I'm like, wow, we got 5 couples up here, you know what I'm saying? That really love each other. So, that in itself is powerful. So, I appreciate y'all and I appreciate this opportunity.
And again, what everyone said is so true. We pretty much wrapped it up in everybody's speech, but yeah, Black love is powerful. Black love is power. Black love to me is an appearance because, when people do watch you, they don't say, oh, that's just love, or that's white love, or that's Chinese love. They always put a staple on what's Black love. So it's a look. It's a essence, and it's something that people strive for. Even, I think a lot of people tap into what they visualize as a strong Black love is because it's something that they're not used to seeing, because you're always used to seeing it in white people. So when you get to see that power in couples that really love each other, that ain't cussing each other out, that's representing each other when you're out and when you're in front of the people, it empowers you. So Black love to me more so is power. Of course, it's a representation of God. We cannot have type of love without God, because he breaks down what love is. Love is kind. Love is not rude. Love is patient. Love is all of that. And if you exemplify that through your life, through your marriage, through your relationships, that shows the power of love. period, black, white, or any other color, but it's beautiful. So it's going to show itself. And we are powerful, you guys. And we have to be an example for the ones who don't feel like love is even worth anything anymore, because it really is. So keep being great.
Thank you. Davises. Black love is.
I have to say, everyone made some. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's powerful. To me, it transcends time. It breaks generational curses. It creates new generational, a future for the next generation. So I think that, again, I don't want to say everyone else's points, but to me, it's power, and it is a representation. And it can heal. It can heal our land. It can heal our community. And so we should continue to show that and show, to be able to show others, be affectionate, share that wisdom, talk to the younger generation, and definitely be that example. So to me, that's what Black love is.
Yeah. I think it's important, especially during today's day and age, because you can get people to say, whoa, why are they talking about Black love? What about, all love matters. But the reality is that many of us, we've taken the challenge of uplifting those around us and our community as a whole. And so our community, the Black community, we have suffered for a long time, and Black love is essential for the growth of our community. And when we talk about, the younger generation, it is extremely important for us to see Black love, because in the media age, what we see predominantly is the opposite of love, and we see a lot of lust. But when there is Black love, it is life-changing for many people. So I think that it's essential for, our community that we serve and that we try and strive to uplift in all of the things that we do. We can go down the line on a lot of the stuff that, the Wheelers, the McKenzies, and, the Blackshears and the Collins and Davises, all of the stuff that we do. We are literally actively trying to uplift our community, and our marriages are also examples to that very community, and it is powerful.
Yes. I have to say, being the single person on this panel, that Black love is very regal. It's royalty. When I see the Obamas, I'm proud to see that. I bow down to that, the essence of Black love. When I see the McKenzies and how they interact with one another, it's a level of respect that I have for that marriage. When I look at my friends, the Collins, and I, know some of the journeys that they've been through, it's a level of respect. It's the essence of royalty. And I love seeing the young love of the Blackshears. And I see how Shannon and Michael interact on Facebook with it. They're always having fun. And even being close with the Davises, I see how you guys interact, and I experience Black love in various realms with all of you. I'm not bitter, however, I still believe in Black love. And you guys, even having this conversation today, have definitely put another perspective on the essence of what Black love. And thank you so much for being open to share your stories, because we know that love is not perfect, but it could be very well worth it. In the end, it could be very well worth it. So I want to say, in closing, happy Valentine's Day. to everyone. I know I really didn't get to the games like I wanted to, but it's okay. We'll play another time, I guess. You have something to say, Chad? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to chime in on that one thing, like Coot had made a very important point. So if we go back to slavery time, and I know we're not living in the past, you know, what happened back then is they took our respect as Black men, and the way that they did that was belittling us in front of our communities, and you know, and making the women feel that we could not protect them. So it is very, very important that as Black men we thank our women for still, you know, trusting enough to love us and to show us that respect, because the way society is, they don't want us to have that respect from our women. They don't want the world to respect us as Black men. So, and you know, my father figure rather, I watched him love my mother for every fiber of her being. And that's what taught me how to love, watching him love my mother. So it is important, like Coop said, that we display that in public and display that in these days and times, because some kid is going to see that, and it's going to teach them how to love a woman and respect a woman and treat her the way she's supposed to be treated. And I think that's very important. So Coop, he hit on some very important lines. That's all I want to share. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And some of the comments we're getting, he's like, thank you all for your inspiration. Your love was felt this afternoon. And people are saying Black love is beautiful. They enjoy it. It's important, it's powerful, but you know, to sum it all up, Black love is definitely necessary. And again, thank you all for partaking in our Black Love series for the month of February. Okay, Jerome, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say in closing that number one, thanks for having us. I thought this was awesome and good meeting all of y'all. And can't remember who it was who want to go to Hawaii. We want to go too. So we need to put something together, because we will do that when they lighten up this stranglehold on moving around this planet. But what I wanted to say was, let us not be mistaken that there is an all-out attack on Black love. And what I say by that is, I'm not just talking about a conspiracy. There are government agencies who inside, in between the lines of their agenda, was that they would split up the Black family. That was the reason why some of these government agencies were put together, to split up the Black family. Also, in one of the biggest influences in our society, which is the media, specifically television, in the programming, they are consciously showing our Black men with white women, and consciously showing Black sisters with white men. And even now, the statistics are out. If you want to check, they are showing just as many Black men kissing Black men as they are Black men kissing Black women. And they are also showing, they're making sure they have equally Black women kissing Black women. Black women kissing Black women than Black women kissing Black men. So there's an all-out attack on Black love. So that's all the more reason to show Black love out in public, to not argue out in public, you know, and to not get into it and not air any dirty laundry out in public. We put on our shine when we're out in public.
Yeah. I got it.
He said, Tiffany, wait.
I know we have to wrap it up. So I'm going to say my closing right now. I want to thank all of the guests all of our guests, and thank you for sharing your truth, sharing your love. The one thing I want to remind us all is to keep marriage covered and keep our marriages covered in prayer. I actually have a list of couples that I pray for, and I'm definitely going to add the Wheelers to mine. So just, to keep us covered, pray for other couples, make a day out of it, take a day to just be mindful. Like Brother Jerome said, there's always going to be an attack on that. The enemy does not want families together, marriages to remain, and futures to be changed. So I just want to say that. Thank you. And Coffee, I'll let you end.
I got one more thing to say just quick. Y'all.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Y'all older couples with the 19 years, 34 years. Y'all keep doing y'all thing because y'all inspire me and my wife to, keep going and to see you guys with all those years. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad everyone was empowered. I was empowered, and I'm bitterish. I'm not bitter. I'm bitterish. You changed my perception a little bit, which I changed it, and that's the key. Next week we will have a panel of all Black single men, and we're going to discuss some issues about the issues surrounding Black men and singlehood, as we did the women last week. And then I think we definitely should have more conversations like this, especially with married couples, because we definitely need to see it a lot more, and we need to get into the deep, into the meat and potatoes of what marriage truly is. My goal was actually to have like an engaged couple on here as well, but it didn't meet the time frame. They weren't able to meet, but I enjoy conversations like this because there's always something to learn. I can't read. What did I say?
We need to start talking about finances and credit and the importance of credit, because I do help people with that, and I'm not doing no PSA. It's on the real, because it's time for us to be owning more things, especially land. And we can't go, we have to be in a position to walk in the bank and get whatever they want, whatever we want. They will give you a $40,000 loan for a car faster than they'll give you a $40,000 loan for a business. So these are the types of things that we need to start talking about. Nobody taught us about credit. Nobody taught us about the importance of those things. We need to start doing that.
We will. Next month, we are, Tiffany and I was talking about home ownership and credit and things of that nature. So we'll have you come on again. We'll put that all together for our scheduled show in March. Okay. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, audience. Thank you for participating. Happy Valentine's Day. Know that Black love will always be here. Don't hang up yet, though. I'm in the broadcast, but we can still converse after. Again, next week, join us again for the Black Love Series, Black Male Edition and Singlehood. I'm Coffee, my beautiful co-host Cream, Tiffany, and together we are keeping the conversation. Thank you so much, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Valentine's Day.